Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Using just your words to create 3D models.
Like Star Trek.
We're talking text-to-CAD generation, and it's seriously shaking up the design world.
It really is a game changer.
Yeah.
The possibilities are mind-blowing when you think about how this could revolutionize everything from architecture to product design.
Our deep dive today is based on a research paper with a
Yeah.
pretty nifty title,
I know.
Text-to-CAD Generation Through Infusing Visual Feedback in Large Language Models. But before we get lost in the technical jargon, can you break it down for us? What exactly is text-to-CAD, and why should we be excited about it?
Imagine this, you're trying to design a new gadget. Instead of painstakingly drawing it out in CAD software, you simply describe what you want, like a sleek, handheld device with a curved screen and 3 buttons on the side. And boom, the computer generates a 3D model based on your words. That's the power of text-to-CAD.
That sounds incredible, but I can't help but think about those voice-to-text fails we've all seen. Translating nuanced language into a precise 3D model seems like a massive challenge.
It is, and that's where this research comes in. Traditional CAD modeling is incredibly complex and time-consuming, even for experts. You have to learn all these specific commands and processes, like
Right.
learning a whole new language.
So how does an AI even begin to learn the language of CAD? I get lost just trying to assemble IKEA furniture.
Right. That's why earlier attempts at text-to-CAD were pretty limited. They relied on what researchers call sequential signals, which is basically the order of operations in CAD. It's like telling the AI, draw a line here, then a circle there, then connect them. But that only gets you so far.
So what's the breakthrough with this new research?
They've developed a new system called CADFusion that's way smarter.
Okay.
It doesn't just follow instructions blindly. It actually uses visual feedback to see what it's creating and make adjustments along the way.
Wait, so the AI can actually see the design? How does that even work?
It's pretty ingenious, actually. They're using something called a large language model, or LLM, which is basically a superpowered AI trained on massive amounts of text data. But they've taken it a step further by incorporating a second AI,
Oh, wow.
a large vision language model, or LVM, which is like an automated design critic.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one. How can an AI be a design critic?
Think of it like this. You have one AI that's trying to create a 3D model based on your text description. Then you have this other AI that's looking at the model and saying, the shape is a bit off here, or this part looks a little clunky.
Interesting.
It gives feedbacks based on specific criteria like how well the design matches the text description, the overall quality of the shapes, and things like that.
So one AI is learning to design and the other is learning to critique. That's wild.
It is. And by combining these two AIs, they've created a system that can learn and adapt much more effectively.
So how does this two AI system actually learn to design from text? What's the training process like?
They use a two-stage approach. First, the LLM, the designer AI, learns the basic grammar of CAD by studying tons of examples of existing designs and the code used to create them. It's like memorizing all the building blocks and rules of CAD software.
Right.
This is called the sequential learning stage.
Okay, so it's learning the fundamentals, the nuts and bolts of CAD.
Yes.
But how does it go from just following instructions to actually designing something unique and creative?
That's where the second stage comes in visual feedback.
Okay.
This is where the LVM, the critic AI, steps in. It looks at the designs the LLM is generating and gives feedback.
Yeah.
And here's the key. The LLM learns to prefer designs that get higher scores from the LVM.
Oh.
It's like a student learning from a teacher's critiques.
So it's not just about learning the technical rules, it's also about developing a sense of what makes a good design. That's fascinating.
Exactly. It's moving beyond just syntax and into semantics, developing an eye for design, if you will.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. Did they actually put CADFusion to the test? Did it live up to the hype?
They did, and the results are pretty remarkable.
Wow.
CADFusion was able to generate some incredibly complex and accurate designs from just text descriptions.
That's awesome.
They even compared it to other state-of-the-art AI systems, including GPT-4.
Wait, GPT-4, the one everyone's talking about, did CADFusion actually beat it?
It did, and not just by a little.
Really?
They used a bunch of different metrics to evaluate the designs, both in terms of the technical accuracy of the CAD code and the visual quality of the 3D models. CADFusion consistently outperformed the competition.
Wow, that's impressive. But I'm curious, can you give us a sense of what these designs actually looked like? What kind of things was CADFusion able to create from text descriptions?
They tested it on a wide range of designs, from simple objects like chairs and tables to more complex things like engine parts and architectural models. And get this, they even had it create a design based on the prompt A rectangular prism with a total of 5 square holes, one centrally located and 4 surrounding it.
Okay.
Now imagine trying to program that into CAD software manually. It
Yeah.
would take forever.
I can't even picture that in my head, let
Right.
alone try to design it.
Right, but CADFusion was able to generate that design accurately and efficiently just from the text description. You can actually see a picture of it in the research paper. It's figure 5.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, you've officially convinced me that this is a big deal.
Good.
But I have to ask, are there any limitations to this technology? Can it really design anything you can describe?
Well, like any technology, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
There are still some challenges. For example, they found that CADFusion struggles with really abstract concepts, like trying to design something that spells out a word using 3D shapes. It can handle complex geometry, but it's not quite there yet with understanding symbolic meaning.
So it can design a wrench, but not a word. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Language is pretty nuanced.
Yeah.
Are there any other limitations they discovered?
Another challenge is with extremely intricate designs, things with a ton of tiny details or very specific spatial relationships. It can handle a good amount of complexity, but there's still a limit to what it can process effectively.
Makes sense. Even human designers have their limits, right?
Exactly. But even with those limitations, this is still a massive leap forward. And remember, this technology is still in its early stages.
Right.
As AI continues to evolve, we can expect these limitations to become less and less significant.
It's exciting to think about what the future holds. But let's shift gears for a moment. We've been focused a lot on the technical side of things, but what about the bigger picture? What are the real-world implications of this technology? How could CAD Fusion change things for, say, the average person?
Well, imagine a world where anyone can design and create almost anything they can imagine without needing years of specialized training.
Right.
That's the potential here.
So it's not just about making life easier for engineers and architects. It's about democratizing design.
Exactly. It could empower entrepreneurs, artists, makers, anyone with an idea to bring that idea to life in 3D.
Yeah.
Think about the possibilities for personalized products, custom-designed furniture, one-of-a-kind art pieces.
It's like putting the power of a design studio in everyone's hands.
Yeah.
But beyond individual creativity, how could this impact industries as a whole?
The potential is vast. In architecture, we could see buildings designed and optimized with incredible speed and efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
In manufacturing, we could have factories turning out highly customized products tailored to individual customer needs. And let's not forget about fields like healthcare, where we could have personalized medical devices designed on demand.
It's almost overwhelming to think about all the possibilities. But with all this talk about efficiency and speed, I can't help but wonder, what about the human element? Will this technology make human designers obsolete?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's an important one. But I don't think this is about replacing human creativity. It's about augmenting it.
Augmenting how so?
Think of it as a collaboration. CADFusion can handle the tedious, time-consuming tasks, freeing up human designers to focus on the bigger picture, the creative vision, the emotional impact of their work. It's like having a superpowered assistant that takes care of all the technical details so you can focus on the art.
That's a much more optimistic outlook. It's not about man versus machine. It's about man with machine.
Exactly. And let's be honest, even the most talented designers spend countless hours wrestling with CAD software.
Yeah.
This technology could free them from that drudgery and allow them to truly unleash their creativity.
So it's less about job displacement and more about job transformation.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about shifting the focus from technical execution to conceptualization, from drawing lines to shaping experiences.
That's a really powerful idea.
Right?
It's making me think about the nature of creativity itself. If AI can handle the technical side of design, what does that mean for the future of human expression?
That's a question worth exploring further. It's possible that this technology could lead to a renaissance of human creativity, as designers are freed from technical constraints and empowered to explore new frontiers of imagination.
It's almost like we're entering a new era of design, one where the boundaries between human and artificial creativity are blurred.
Exactly. It's a future full of possibilities, and I, for one, am excited to see what we create together.
It really does feel like we're on the cusp of something huge.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away with all the exciting possibilities, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about CAD Fusion being better than even GPT-4.
Right.
That's a pretty bold claim. Can you unpack that a bit for us? What makes CAD Fusion so special?
Well, one of the key things that sets CADFusion apart is how it learns. Remember we talked about that two-stage training process. The researchers discovered something really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They found that if they focused too heavily on one stage, either the sequential learning or the visual feedback, it actually made the system worse at the other.
So it's like a musician who only practices scales and never plays actual music. They might be technically proficient, but they'll lack creativity and expression.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
Right?
And the researchers came up with a clever way to achieve that balance in CADFusion.
Okay.
They used a technique called alternate training, where they basically switched back and forth between the two stages throughout the learning process. This helped the AI develop both a strong understanding of CAD principles and a refined sense of design aesthetics.
It's like learning a new language. You need to study the grammar and vocabulary, but you also need to immerse yourself in the culture and practice speaking with native speakers to truly master it.
That's a great analogy. And the researchers found that this balanced approach led to significantly better results. CADFusion was able to create designs that were not only technically accurate, but also visually appealing and more closely aligned with the user's intent.
Speaking of the user's intent, I'm curious about the role of human feedback in all this. Did the researchers incorporate any human input during the development of CAD Fusion?
They did, and it turned out to be really important.
Okay.
Initially, they used another AI, a large vision language model, to generate descriptions for the training data.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had human experts review and refine those descriptions to make sure they were clear, accurate, and captured the nuances of the designs.
So it's not just about AI doing all the work.
No,
Human expertise is still essential, especially when it comes to those subtle aspects of design that are hard to quantify.
absolutely. It's a great example of how AI and human intelligence can work together to achieve something truly remarkable.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of text-to-CAD. We've learned about the challenges, the innovations, and the potential of this technology to revolutionize the way we design and create. I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on the future of design.
Me too.
It's a field that's evolving at an incredible pace, and it's exciting to see where it will lead us next.
For sure.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
Okay?
We've talked a lot about how amazing this technology is, but like with any powerful tool, there's always a flip side.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we need to be thinking about as text-to-CAD becomes more sophisticated and widespread?
That's a great point. One thing that comes to mind is the potential impact on accessibility. Will this technology be available to everyone, or will it create a divide between those who have access to it and those who don't? It's something we need to be mindful of as we move forward.
That's a crucial consideration. We don't want to create a world where only a select few have the power to design and create.
Right.
Um,
Another thing to think about is the potential for misuse. Any technology can be used for good or for ill, and text-to-CAD is no exception.
right.
It's important to have open conversations about the ethical implications and ensure that this technology is developed and used responsibly.
It's a reminder that even as we celebrate the incredible potential of AI, we need to remain vigilant and thoughtful about its impact on society.
Absolutely. It's a responsibility we all share.
Well said. This has been a truly fascinating exploration of text-to-CAD. I hope our listeners are as excited as we are about the possibilities and are inspired to learn more about this transformative technology. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.